Hey everyone, it's just a minute after 11. Let's wait one more minute. Let's for more people to filter in really quickly. Sorry, I just finished teaching another class, so I'm just going to grab a glass of water and then I'll be right back and then we'll get started. So sit tight for one more minute. All right, so good morning and happy Tuesday. And just really quickly, again, reminder that your project one is due today. I gave you not only that to finish, but over the weekend to also um, watch all those Revit videos. I'm not so, I don't like just sort of assigning video tutorials for you to watch like from someone else, but in that case, they're actually really good videos. So I hope you were able to sort of, partition out some time every day, just an hour or two here and there, in order to get through those, right? Again, they're mentioned on the module 2 page, and I haven't updated that yet, only because I want to make sure that the parameters for project 2 are just right, so that you guys won't spin your wheels. But what we're going to do, and I'll go ahead and share my screen now. And again, this is being recorded, so I'll post this as recording of the all the demonstrations that we do today after class once the video is done processing. So, but just so you know, the agenda for today and for the week is today I'm going to talk about the next steps that we're going to do with basically where project 2 picks up is where project 1 left off. So we're going to use that Rhino model that we did or that you made. And you submitted the Illustrator file or the PDF, I guess, of the Illustrator file, the isometric drawing of it. But that Rhino file that you guys did, we're going to use that. We're going to bring it into. We're going to do a few more things, actually, a few more modeling things in Rhino. Then we're going to bring that into Revit. We're going to detail parts of the facade in Revit. So we're going to look at let's see, aluminum cladding panels and some curtain wall and some stuff like that. And we'll make some family types. We'll adjust some family types that are already pre-made. We'll start to apply things to surfaces, and we'll start to apply things to walls. We'll do a lot of cleanup. We'll do some reveals and things like that. And then we'll export out of Revit back into Rhino, clean some things up, make another isometric drawing just like you did before, this time with much more detail. So let me just share my screen. But that's project 2 in a nutshell. And like I said, I'll flesh that out tonight on the module 2 once I just make sure of a few things here. But I'm just going to go through some of the steps in this process now today. So this will be part demonstration for about an hour or so, and then part help session for anybody still finishing up project 1 and need some quick one-on-one help, whether you share your screen or I share my screen. As well as anybody who wants to work ahead and start to do some of the stuff that we talked about today. Just want something, and that's how the Wednesday and Thursday meeting of this week will go as well. I'll have some demonstration stuff and some lecture stuff to do at the beginning, and then the second half will be help session, right? Troubleshooting. The idea that it's work time, the idea that you can get a lot of this done during class time, and I'm here to sort of answer any questions that pop up as you do it, okay? So without any further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. Right, here's module 2. You guys can see my screen, I hope. Here's module 2, and like I said, here's the link to all those LinkedIn Learning videos that you're supposed to watch. You're supposed to watch over the weekend and get those done. And so some of the stuff that I show you today and tomorrow in Revit, hopefully won't be completely brand new to you because you've watched those videos and followed along. But essentially, you think about what you guys did the first time around for project 1. This is what we're going to do to it in project 2. We're going to have a considerable amount of detail and materiality to the outside, right? So we're going to have some concrete, some metal cladding, some aluminum panels, some glass and mullion curtain walls, based on a module of 2 feet and 4 feet. Where I'm going with this is that we're going to add a considerable amount of detail to the drawing, right? So this almost makes your first isometric that's due today look sort of cute and quaint, right? It's suddenly upping the game a bit. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use a combination of Rhino and Revit to do this, right? So you're going to learn you're going to put to practice some of the stuff that you watched in the videos for Revit in this assignment. And so let's talk about this step by step. Let me open up Windows. I'm going to go ahead and open up a Rhino. So project demo, project 1 demo, test spec to Rhino. You have a number of these things, right? So here's where we left off before, right? And you did an isometric of each of you did an isometric of this, right, for today. If not, you need to get that in by 5 today. Okay. Otherwise, it's late. And it's cutting awfully close. You had a whole weekend and all of last week, but things happen. I understand. So, so this is what you guys were working on. And so there's a couple of steps that we're going to do today, and then some steps that we'll repeat tomorrow and then build off of tomorrow. But I want to show you some of the things that you're going to have to do a little bit of additional modeling in Rhino. And then I'll show you how to export that stuff to a file format called an SAT format that you can bring into Revit. And then we'll do some initial steps in Revit with some of the surfaces that we created and creating curtain wall. Tomorrow we'll go over Revit again, but we'll go over the paneling and make a custom reveal profile, and then start to add reveals to walls for the aluminum paneling. And so we'll just take this step by step over the week. But the idea is that you can continue to work on this. And like I said, project 1, it's not like we're done with that and you put it on the shelf. It's useful because we'll be using that. That's the starting point for project 2. So this model, we'll model a few more things in Rhino, and then we'll bring that into Revit today, okay? So that's where this is coming from. This is my project 1. You guys each have your own project 1. And so there's a couple of things here. One is that you've taken these pieces that you had and you modeled them, you gave them thickness, right? Like you were supposed to. And so we're going to think about those as either one of 2 different materials in Revit. They can some of these can be concrete, and some of them are going to be those aluminum panels, okay, that are basically broken down onto a 2 foot by 2 foot grid. Okay. And so what's interesting is that we're going to add some surfaces in the Rhino model that when brought in along with the rest of this into Revit, we're going to actually apply curtain wall to, right? So we'll make those glass with mullions, okay? And so there's a couple of things that I wasn't really paying much attention to when I just did this in Rhino. like gravity. And so, you know, I have this like ridiculous situation where I would say this is cantilevering outwards and there's nothing that it's resting on. And what I can begin to do is think about where I would add glazing or glass or windows or curtain wall. And I can model that with just a simple surface. And I'm going to do that instead of drawing these out flat on the XY plane and then tilting them up and moving them into place like you did before. We have a working model, and so I'm going to try to draw some curves or snap to certain edges and corners and make surfaces for the glass here inside the three-dimensionally, okay? And so I'm just going to sort of ad-lib here. I'm going to say maybe make a glass curtain wall that starts at the top here and moves down to the ground. Okay, and so I'm going to go to all four of my viewports at once because I'll need to sort of see things all at once here. I'm gonna go to my layers tab and I'm going to make a new layer and I'm gonna call this glass or glazing. Okay, so I'll put them all on this layer. I'll go ahead and make sure that new layer is checkmarked. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add some more geometry. And I can do this in any number of different ways, okay? I'm gonna bring, first of all, I'm gonna be making surfaces. I'm gonna bring my surface tools out. I'm gonna click and hold where it says surface creation. Here's all the different ways I can create surfaces. I can, you know, snap to points and fill things in with a surface. I can extrude. We've already done that by typing an extrude. I can sweep, I can revolve, I can loft, I can do a whole number of things here. I can make planes with 3 points, okay? And so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a rectangular plane from 3 points to start off with. And I'm just gonna show you some basics here. What I want you to do is just look and watch. You don't have to follow along right now, okay? Because I don't want you to get lost. You're looking at your screen and not my screen, then suddenly you look up and you're like, wait, what's he doing now, right? So just watch what I'm doing. And then I can always redo things if need be. And then again, you'll have time at the end to just sort of do things on your own and try things out and ask me questions as you go, okay? So in this case, I'm just gonna need to sort of set 3 points in space to create a plane. I'm gonna go ahead and turn midpoints on my O snaps here, my object snaps down here. And I'm gonna try to snap to this midpoint and snap to this midpoint and snap to this midpoint. Now I have a perpendicular plane, okay? Now I actually want to bring that down a little further. There's a number of different ways I can do that. Since this is drawn, one way I could do that is to scale it and sort of try to stretch it. I'm just going to maybe think of a different method to make this surface. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to draw a line here at the top and snap to that midpoint, in the midpoint to draw that top edge again. I'm going to select that curve, and now I'm just going to extrude it, which is a operation you guys have done before, right? I'm going to try to extrude it all the way down to the ground. So I'm going to try to snap some here, somewhere down here to a corner that's already meeting the ground. Yeah. Okay. And so what I did is I drew a profile and I extruded it downwards, right? I'll do that again, maybe somewhere else. Yeah, why not? I'll do that over here. So I'm going to go ahead and make a line. I'll click on this corner, like I'll snap to the endpoint. I have my ortho set on, right? So I can only draw 90 degrees from that. So I'll draw on the x-axis. I'm going to type in a distance this time. This is just like drawing in top view. I know my curtain wall is going to be in 4-inch modules, so let's make this 16 feet. And I'll go ahead and snap right there. And I'll go ahead and right click when I'm done. So now I have a top edge, and I'm just going to extrude, type in extrude. And I'll go ahead and extrude this downwards. And if I want it to go all the way to the, let's say, flush to this edge, I can snap down here and it'll go in that direction, right? That distance. Okay, and so I'm just adding maybe some windows and things like that. This is a nice edge right here. So let's say I don't want to draw the edge. Let's say I want to just pick this edge of the curve, or let's say this edge of this surface that's already drawn. Let's see if I can do that. I'm going to hit extrude. I'm going to see if I can just select that edge. I can. Great. In fact, I can select multiple edges and go around and select multiple ones if I want. Maybe I do this one as well. Now I can go ahead and extrude that down, right? I didn't extrude it down far enough. Oop, let me undo that. Extrude. I'm just going to try to select these edge curves, right? I'm going to make sure I snap to something down here at the ground level. Yeah, that looks better. Okay. And so what I'm doing is I'm just making surfaces without any thickness this time. And I'm going to bring those into my Revit model as well. And I'm going to make those glass with some mullions, right? The little window panes. Okay. And so now that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 instances of those, I think I'm going to show you guys how to then export this model out of Rhino and into Revit. Okay. Again, I will post instructions, more instructions for you guys for this project this evening as soon as I get a chance. Sorry, I teach like after this class, I have to teach again the studio all the way until 5:40. So it's like my life is a huge mess right now. But tonight I will actually post like the parameters for the assignment for you guys, so you know exactly what you're doing. Okay. But I just wanted to sort of do this demonstration and show you guys where we're going. All right. And so, whereas Rhino is really handy, it's really easy to start to make all kinds of weird geometries and shapes, right? And model those really quickly, like we were just doing. Revit, it's less, like it's harder to like make a non-standard wall. You almost have to trick it into doing that. But what it can do is we can bring this geometry in that we've already created, start to make it walls, start to give it some materials, and then start to make all that geometry like I was talking about. So it's about detailing in Revit for this class. So we're going to use each software's strengths and talk about how they're complementary to each other. So you can take this into this one and then back to here, and then you can cut this open. We'll start to cut section perspectives and do elevations and plans, and then bring those into Photoshop and Illustrator and bling them out, right? Okay, so that's the agenda for the entire 5 weeks, right? We're through week 1 where we did some basic modeling in Rhino, right? So we take this model. Once I have enough planes, I'm going to go ahead and talk about how we export this to Revit. Okay, and the file type, if you want to jot this down, but I'll actually note this in when we do the step-by-step again in the module page on Canvas, is a .sat file. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and export or select all of this stuff all at once. And just like we selected to make an Illustrator file in Project 1, we can export selected as a STAT file for Project 2. So I'm going to say File Pull Down, Export Selected. Okay. And I'm going to pick the file type SAT. I just got to go down. It's I think in alphabetical order, right? And so let's see, SAT. Maybe try to find it here. Pretty sure I used SAT. I'm not sure why I can't find SAT. Oh, sorry. I take that back. You know what? We're not going to even export an SAT. My bad. Sorry. Over the weekend, or like yesterday, basically, I had to reteach myself Revit. So long story short, back in the olden times, like a year and a half ago, you had to export an SAT from Rhino to bring a Rhino file into Revit. Since then, Revit made it easier to import just a Rhino file directly into Revit. I found that out yesterday. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do this the way I would do this a year and a half ago, not yesterday. Okay. So my bad. I'm going to make sure that this is just saved. I can just save it, right? And what I'm honestly going to do is I'm going to save out of version, save as, and I call this Project 1 demo for bringing into Revit or something like that. The reason I'm making a new version of this file is because I'm going to go back through and delete everything else that I don't need. All of this stuff, even if it's on a layer that's turned off right now, it's going to be brought into Illustrator if I don't delete it. Okay, and so I just want to delete all of this stuff, all that Make 2D stuff, all of the cubes and all that sort of things. I just want the model and the glass that I just made. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and layer name and use. Okay, So I'm just going to go ahead and select all of those, and just in the layers, I'm going to say delete layers. It's going to ask me like, well, these layers have 82 objects. Are you sure you want to delete all this stuff? And I'm going to say yes to all. Just going to just like blow it away. Demo this bad boy. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and save. Okay. All right. So now I just have a second Rhino file. I've added some surfaces, right? Some planes, and I've saved it, and I'm going to go ahead and close it now. And that's what I'm going to bring into Revit. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open up Revit. Now, it's not quite as easy as it is to open things up in Rhino. We're going to have to go through a procedure for importing a CAD model into Revit from a different software. So I'm just got to wait for Revit to open up. And again, this is being recorded. So at the end of the class today, sometime this afternoon, as things get post-processed, I'll upload the video to YouTube, and I'll time code it and set the link to it for you guys to watch later on if you want. But what I would suggest is, instead of trying to follow along step by step for today, is to just sort of watch and try to make sure you understand the big moves that are being made. Conceptually, you understand what the assignment is, right? Okay, finally, Revit opens up. I'm just going to open up a new file. This is what my splash screen looks like when I first open up Revit. I'm just going to say new for models. So new model. Just create a new Revit model from scratch. Imperial construction template. That looks good. Imperial meaning you know, feet and inches rather than metric, right? Maybe I'll say architectural template, I'm not sure. But if it says imperial, then that means you're going to be dealing with feet and inches. Okay, okay. And I'll let it just do its thing. Now, hopefully you guys were watching some of those videos, and so the interface looks familiar to you, right? If not, that was part of your assignment. You need to watch those videos. Okay? I'm not going to pretend that I use Revit every day, okay? And so it seems like I use it on a need-to-use basis, but it's such a useful software. It's constantly, it's the industry standard for, you know, building information modeling. And so, let's see. For some reason, this doesn't have the 3D views. All right, so I'm just going to go to File, New. I'll just open up the project, creates a new Revit project. No, sorry, yeah, project. I'll just use the construction template. I don't know why I changed that. Just use the default construction template, Imperial construction template. Yeah, okay, here we go. This is what I want to see down here, right? So you'll see a number of windows along the left-hand side. You'll see a number of tools along the top, right? This is almost like the exact opposite of some of the software we've been dealing with. It's really important. Here's the sort of parameters and properties window. And then here's how I can toggle back and forth between different views, like plan view and 3D views, okay? So first thing I'm going to do, okay, is I'm going to go to, let's see, architecture. And I'm going to go to component, okay, model in place. Okay, so this is the first step that we need to do in order to bring in this, this Rhino file into Revit. Okay, we're going to tell it we're going to bring a model into place. So we're going to say, bring in a component, model in place. Okay, we got to give it a family category. And so I'm just going to say generic model. Okay, I'm going to scroll down until I find generic model. Make sure that's selected and highlighted, and then hit OK. It's going to come up and say, okay, name this thing. I'm just going to say Rhino model or something like that. It doesn't really matter what I name it. Okay, Rhino model. I'll hit OK. Okay, I'm not done yet. All I've done is sort of set up the situation where I'm going to bring something in. Now I need to go to Insert tab. Okay, this is not intuitive at all. That's why I'm making sure I go through this with you today, and I'll be able to go through it with you again tomorrow and repeat it. Okay, so Insert, Import Cad. Okay, now there's several different types of files that I can import in. So DWGs, DXFs, those are AutoCAD files. STAT files for the old time, DGN or Microsoft Bentley files, SketchUp files, and Rhino files. So I'm going to type in, or make sure I select Rhino, go to my desktop or wherever I was saving this at, export from Rhino, test back to Rhino, isometric, demo for bringing into Revit. There we go. Now it's going to give me an error down here. It says it's not visible in floor plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on my 3D view. And I can zoom in and out with my scroll mouse, just like with Rhino, right? And I'm going to go ahead and select all of this model that I have over here. I'm just going to move it so that's over here within the bounds of the where it wants to sort of see this. Now I can go back to, let's say, my site plan, and I see this within the sort of the cardinal directions here. I can go ahead and just sort of click, select it, and I'm just going to try to click and drag it, sort of center it up. Okay, it's not critical if it's at 0, 0 or anything like that, but I'm just gonna make sure. So I brought this thing in, right? It's one big object, right? It's called a generic object, and now I need to start to make things walls and make things panels and make things curtain walls. Okay. So again, I'm breezing through this, but that's because you can watch this step by step later on the video. Okay, as you move along at your own pace. All right, but I just want to sort of give you a taste of where we're going here. I'm just trying to zoom in a little bit. Inevitably, I'll probably end up zooming in too much. And yeah, okay, here we go. That works well. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and save this Revit file right now while I'm thinking about it. I'll call this, let's see, project 2 in class demonstration. Okay, that way I remember what to open up later. Changes made in a node, save. What's it doing? Yeah, okay, sorry. All right. Finish model. Once I've imported that, we're good. Just want to try to zoom in here, sorry. All right. Okay, so we can see an isometric view of our model here. And panning in this view, I don't know if you guys went over that. You should have went over that in your in the videos you watched, right? I gotta pan. Oh, this is so painful. There we go. Pan tool. Pan it over. This is like the least intuitive way to pan. Come on. There. Sorry, now I'll try to end that. Ay, ay, ay. All right. Okay. So what you can see is that it took all the objects in our Rhino model, and now they're just one big generic object. Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start to classify these things as different pieces of geometry. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the architecture tab, and you can see that there's a whole raft of tools here. The one we'll be primarily focused on is wall. So we'll start to make certain pieces of geometry walls. We'll also make some curtain systems. And then inside of walls, once we make walls, we'll actually start to add wall reveals, okay? Okay. So I'm gonna say wall by face. And I'm just gonna try to select, let's say, this face. Okay. Once I do that, it gives this surface thickness. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and undo that. But what it did is it said, okay, the basic wall is gonna be a generic 8-inch wall, okay? And what I want to do is make a generic 6-inch wall when we start to make walls. Okay. So we go back to architecture, wall. I'm going to say wall by face. Now I'm going to go through one of these thickened things. I'm just going to try to select the outside faces of it. Make each one a wall, 6-inch wall. The outside face, inside faces. Okay, I'm just going to try to go around. Because what we're going to do is we're going to make each of the surfaces around this a wall. And then what we can do is we can then start to add the reveal patterns around the 3-dimensionally. Okay, so I can do it with that one. And let's see, I'll go ahead and do it with this one as well. Wall by face, making sure that the basic generic 6-inch wall is selected. I'll go ahead and try to select this front face. And then this back face, you can see what's highlighted in blue. Then this side, and then this side. And now I'm going to hold down the shift key and use my right mouse button and sort of try to rotate the view a bit, zoom out and zoom back in, sort of rotate around a little bit. Try to expose the different faces that I want to select here. That one and also that one. Okay. All right. And so it's a different muscle memory to sort of pan and dolly and rotate your view in Revit versus Rhino. which is unfortunate. It's one of the things you just got to get used to. Each software is a little different. Okay. All right, and so now I have a set of walls here that sort of wrap around each other. They're 6-inch walls, so that means they're 6 inches thick. And so you can see these were 12-inch walls that we made in Rhino. So the cavity between these walls is like 0. It's like nothing, which is fine for our purposes. Okay. So I have a couple of walls to play around with, and I have a couple of these just really sort of generic surfaces with no thickness to play around with. So let's make a curtain wall system first. I'm gonna go ahead and do curtain wall system. Okay. And the first thing that pops up, as you can see, I have properties. And so I have, by default, a 5-foot by 10-foot curtain wall system. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and go to edit type down here and bring up a box so I can change this. I don't want 5 foot by 10 feet. Let's say I want to duplicate this system. I'm gonna call this 4 feet by 4 feet. And start to adjust its parameters. So here, unlike Rhino, where I would model all these things, like I would draw it all and then extrude things up around and stuff like that, here I can set a certain type of building system or construction system, and then I have a set of parameters that I can begin to adjust in order, so when I apply it, then I can go back to these parameters and adjust, let's say, the spacing or the mullion sizes and things like that. So for the spacing, I'm going to say 4 feet in the X direction and 4 feet in the Z direction. Okay. A couple of things. Curtain panel, I'm going to go ahead and adjust these. I'm going to say system panel that's glazed. Joint condition, I'm just going to say grid 1 continuous. And again, this is all stuff that you can go back through later and set. I'm going to say rectangular mullions, rectangular mullions, rectangular mullions, rectangular, rectangular, rectangular. Hit OK. All right. Now, I've said I'm going to make a curtain wall system. I've set up the parameters for the curtain wall system. It says I can select multiple. And go ahead and select this face, right? And now it's populated the surface with a 4 foot by 4 foot curtain wall system, okay? Which is nice. That's pretty handy. Yay! That's so much easier sometimes, right? So when it comes to adding these componentry and breaking down a small surface, or let's say a large surface, into a bunch of architectural components, you know, the structure holding up and the panes and the windows and that sort of stuff, you know, Revit is much better at that than it is at sort of modeling the non-standard geometries. So in this case, what we're doing is we're modeling the non-standard geometries in Rhino, then we're bringing them into Revit, and then we're applying the building systems to them, okay? Isn't that great? I mean, this is like, when I was doing my undergraduate degree, you know, back when the dinosaurs ruled the earth, you know, I started out with like a T-square and a parallel bar, and I'd do everything by hand, and it was a pain in the ass, but things are so much easier now. So anyway, so it worked. And now if I want to set another one, and I'm just going to sort of quickly try to zoom out of my model. Sorry, I keep sort of zooming in and out. I'm going to go ahead and hold that shift key and rotate my view around. And I can hold down the shift W button and bring up pan. Toggle that button on pan. Move this over a bit. Oh, that's so painful. I'll just try to rotate this around here just a little more. I'll just try to zoom out and then zoom back in at a good place. All right. So I just want to see some of those other surfaces that I drew that I wanted to apply curtain walls to. Okay, so again, I'm going to hit my cursor, just click out here in space, make sure I don't have anything selected that I don't want selected. Go ahead and hit curtain wall system again. Make sure that it's selected my 4x4 curtain system type. I'm going to go ahead and select multiple. I'm going to go ahead and select this. And I'm going to go ahead and say create system. There it is. Oh, yeah. Now, what's interesting is that the height of this isn't necessarily based on a 4 foot module, right? First of all, I'll just say this, right? I was picking 24-inch modules, 2 feet modules, or 48-inch modules, 4 foot modules for a reason, right? I mean, so if you think about all standard building material construction sizes, you know, we have masonry. Those are usually based off of the 2-inch, 4-inch, 8-inch, 16-inch modules, right? We have plywood and wood framing that are based off of 16-inch module, like 16 inches on center for studs. 4x8 sheets of plywood and those sorts of things, and drywall and those sorts of things, right? And so, you know, our construction system is largely based on modules that start with 2 inches, 4 inches, 8 inches, 16, 24s, right? And so anytime you can sort of make things adhere to that, then you're making your life easier, and you're minimizing waste and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Okay. So minimizing waste has both an ecological and an economic argument to make with that, right? So it's an important thing to just bring up. All right, and so we could always, you know, modify the behavior of where we want this curtain wall to start and end later if we need to. But I just want to go ahead and apply curtain wall in a couple other places where I made those surfaces. So I'm just going to go ahead and pan this over. Again, just try to watch, make sure you understand what's going on. Okay, select multiple. Let me go ahead and select this and this. Oh, oops, wrong one. All right, select multiple. Let's see, there we go. Make sure I select the right thing this time. There we go. Create system. Select multiple, create system. There we go. I don't know why I didn't accept it the last time, but now it's there. All right. Great. Okay. So there's a couple of other things you can do here. You can always rotate your view this way, right? The panning is just real pain. I don't know who came up with that. What a terrible way to make pan. But anyway, sorry, I'll just continuously moan and bitch all day. But let's talk about something important now. Let's take these walls that we made. I'm going to make reveals in order to make reveals into them in order to make the cladding system, right? So really quickly, let me just bring up while I have my screen shared. So curtain wall. I don't know why my caps lock is on. Curtain wall, right? This is what I mean by curtain wall system. Most exterior wall systems in buildings these days, they're just hung like a piece of clothing on the slabs and the structure of the building, right? So even masonry, like bricks and block, those aren't structural anymore usually. Those are hung just off the side and stacked accordingly, right? So really what we mean in curtain walls is that you have these mullions and like panes, glass panes, and then you have the glass in between, and usually you have like 2 or even 3 sets of glazing in between with an airspace and argon pumped in there to give it more thermal performance. But the idea is that, you know, basically this is just holding itself up and then clipped onto the structure behind, okay? And there's lots of different curtain walls now. You know, there's some with mullions, there's some that are mullionless, and you just sort of bolt hardware through and clips, spider clips, and those sorts of things. Instead of mullions now and panes, you might just have a silicone joint. You know, it's just basically a gasket. You know, and those sorts of things. So you can look at different glass systems if you're really curious about that. But that's what I mean by curtain wall system, right? So when it comes to the aluminum cladding, you know, I'm talking about something that looks like this, right? So again, we're going to be playing with grids. A nice way of looking at this is, you guys been to the Getty Center in LA? If not, you guys should go. You know, it's an art museum done by Richard Meyer a million years ago. Not a million years ago, but it's been a while now, right? And so you start to see aluminum cladding, glass curtain walls, and then also some stone panels. Okay, so this is the sort of language that we'll be looking at. It's sort of neo-modernist, very much part of the lineage of sort of desert architecture, a la you know, mid-century modernism, with planes and a simple palette of materials based off of grids, and expressing those materials on the outside. So seeing the glass, seeing the seams and the joints between paneling and those sorts of things. Okay. Okay, just a little bit of background. Anywho, so now again, and I'm moving fast, I understand, but again, you're not trying to keep up with me. You're just sort of seeing I'm just sort of whetting your appetite for what's coming. okay, tomorrow. Once you have the assignment, the project parameters in front of you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bring this wall. I'm just going to try to bring this wall into view. Okay, so I'm going to look at these walls that I made, right? Remember, I went to these thickened parts from Rhino, and I started making walls from faces. Now I'm going to make a wall reveal. Okay, a reveal meaning that space in between the panels where it looks like there's a reveal in the wall. Okay, I think you'll see in just a second, right? So I'm going to say make a horizontal or vertical reveal. Now you can see that this is already based on some sort of weird preset size. Let's see what it does. Let's restart reveal, right? And so what it's done is it's put this reveal, and it's really out of scale. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit undo that. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to File, and I'm gonna say New. I'm gonna say New Family. I'm gonna create a new family of English. Oh wait, did I not hit English Imperial? English Imperial, sorry, feet and inches. I'm gonna go to Reveals, or sorry, Profiles. Profile. And it's going to open up the profile page. Now here I can create a new custom parametric family here. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to draw a rectangle. I'm going to snap here at the 0, 0, and I'm going to make it 1 inch by 1 inch. And that's going to be, we're going to make a 1 inch reveal that's 1 inch into the wall. Okay, so I'm going to say load into project. I'm going to say sure. Right, there we go. Say okay. Load into project, come on. I'll load into both, I guess. I'm not sure what's going on here. There we are. Should be me back to my project here, my 3D view, hopefully. Or not. There we go. Back to my 3D view. Okay. And now what I can do is I can do a wall reveal. And I can say for the reveal, edit the type. And for the profile, I can use the new profile I made, family 1. Can hit OK, apply and OK. Now I can make a horizontal reveal. Now it's 1 inch, which is nice. Okay. So now I can make a set of horizontal reveals here. I'm going to make those 2 feet by 2 feet. And I'm just going to pick something that's not quite centered here. I'm going to say restart reveal, and I'm going to try to move this up 2 feet. I'll just make a couple of reveals. Okay, and when I'm done, I'm going to hit modify. Let me go ahead and select these. I'm going to look and see what the space and distancing is between these things. So right now I started it right here. So yeah, try to select this one reveal. Okay, it's showing me how far it's offset from one edge or the other. So in this case, I can go here and I can say, actually, I'm just going to make this 12 inches. Okay. All right. So 1 foot. Now I'm going to select the second. I'm going to make this, let's see. Okay. So if this is 1 foot off, I'm going to make this 3 feet off. That makes sense, right? Offset. So let's make this 3. Just type it in the parameters, right? So you can see it can be very precise here. Okay. And now I can start to make more wall reveals, horizontal ones. And I can make them 2 foot each. I have to do the restart reveal each time, which is annoying. Not sure why. Okay. There's another way of doing this where I can start to use the copy command. But I'm just going to double check this and see how this is working, right? Okay, so that's a little off. That's 3 feet. So this one should be 5 feet because I want it to be 2 feet away. So I'll make this 0. Okay. I can also go to elevation view and start to draw this stuff as well. But I'm just going to quickly keep this in 3D view. I'll just turn this to 7 feet exactly. Okay. All right, and on and on and on. I could zoom in a little closer, and I could select this, and I could say copy, right? And then it's copy from here and copy to there. I could say copy multiple and constrain. And I want to make sure that I actually select this whole reveal there. There we go, copy. Maybe it didn't actually, well, let's see what it does. And so I'll snap here to here. I'm not sure why it's, there we go. and then I brought one up, but I could keep going multiples. For some reason, my mouse does not want to behave. I'm using one of these stupid Apple Magic Mice. I recommend you guys get just a good solid mouse. Um, you know, but I could continue to sort of zoom in here and snap to the right point here each time and start copying these upwards as I go. Okay, just gave me an error for some reason. I could go and go and go. Again, I'm just gonna, sorry I keep zooming in and out. My mouse is a little more sensitive than I would like, but let's see. Wall reveal, I just keep adding them. You know, I can add them to the short portions of the wall as well. Restart reveal. Restart reveal. A nice thing is that also, you know, I can start to add them in this direction. Start to make sure that they're flush. Right? And even go around to this side and do the same thing. Not sure why my rotation is so off-centered, but sorry, I promise I'm trying to actually zoom in and out in a nice way, but it's not. Here we go, restart reveal, right? So I can even put them on the other side and on and on and on. Okay. I can do the same thing, but vertical, right? So I can begin to restart these reveals, right? And I can even draw these, let's say, in elevation. So if I went to, let's say, the right elevation, right? I clicked on the cube here, right? I can begin to select these, and now I have some dimensions I can play around with. So let's say this is, oh, this is 1 foot offset, so that's great. So now I'm going to make sure that this is set to 3 feet offset, not 4. Offset from the very edge. This one needs to be 5, right? It's actually at 7, so maybe I'll just add another reveal at the 5. Not sure if that's exactly at 5, so I'll just select it and make sure. Nope, that's 1 inch off. I'll just set this to 5 feet. So again, as for some reason, sometimes these don't go all the way to the edge, so you can click on them and then tell it to go all the way to the edge. For whatever reason, sometimes you need to do that. It has everything to do with the transition in the wall, it seems like. So at these situations where you have a non-standard wall with a big, you know, opening punched into it. So again, we can go over this stuff throughout the week, okay? But I just wanted to whet your appetites today for what we're going to be doing this week. Again, I will post this demonstration, but I'll do this again from scratch tomorrow for the demonstration tomorrow as well. And then again, if you want to work this evening, let's say you have project 1 done, you're like, okay, I'm going to try this out. I'm really into this. And you know, the sooner the better. You know, watch the video once I get it uploaded and try this out, okay? When you come in tomorrow, then you can have questions, okay? So again, we can spend time answering questions, we can do the demonstration, and then we can have the last half is just simply sort of the digital office hours where you guys have work time and you can ask me questions as they pop up and I can demonstrate or clarify anything that needs to happen, okay? We can do that Wednesday as well as Thursday. So again, just to recap, okay? This was just a preview of what's coming ahead and what we're going to be doing in Revit. And I haven't even gotten back to bringing it back into Rhino and all that stuff. We'll do that, okay? And then republish an isometric drawing, right? That'll make your first isometric drawing for project 1 look you know, kind of primitive and crude, but whatever. You know, we got to start somewhere. So you'll see an evolution of this project as we go, an isometric drawing each time. It'll be great. But we're going to add these details. I will actually delineate the process, again, step by step, in the module page, module 2, project 2 page tonight for you guys. So then, you know, again, on Wednesday, tomorrow when we meet, we can talk about that thoroughly in detail, answer any questions. Again, you could do the demonstration step by step, recording that. And then that way that leaves us Wednesday and, you know, the rest of Wednesday and then Thursday to do the troubleshooting, help sessions, work sessions. Make sure everybody's on track, okay? Because then over the weekend, you'll have to finish up project 2. And you'll do that with, you know, you'll probably have to email me a couple questions from now and then, that's fine, okay? But remember, this during the week here, this is your time to actually get as much of this done as you can. I have very little sympathy for folks who ask me the most basic questions on Sunday night, you know, or Monday night, right before the project is due, and it's apparent that you put it off until the very end, okay? There's not much I can do to help you there. If you come to me on a Thursday or Friday and you say, Josh, I'm just having this problem, I could say, okay, try this, try that. If you're having any problems still, let me know. Let's meet up on a day over Zoom for 15 minutes one-on-one. You show your screen, I'll help you just get past the problem you're having, okay? So I can do that, you know, earlier in the project sequence, but you know, the 11th hour, it's really hard for me to respond, especially since I'm teaching 12 credit hours of classes at the moment. It takes up all day, every day, and I have to do all the prep in between the classes as well and at night. So it's not like I'm making excuses, but I'm busy too. So, you know, for those of you who that's my way of just saying, don't put things off to the very last second, okay? I can be as much help as I can be, you know, up until, you know, Monday evening. You know, I was getting emails this morning. I'm like, I'm sorry, but, you know, I'm in the middle of teaching another class right now. And like, you know, I can't really type out emails to you, right? So, okay, keep that in mind, right? Help me help you, all right? And I think most of you have done a pretty good job of that, but there's a few of you, you know, you just need to get the cadence right? Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, we come together and we get a lot done. And I can help out as much as possible. But you need to make sure that you're on the right track, you know what you're doing, and you don't have any other questions for that weekend for you to finish, okay? So that's the cadence for the semester. So with that, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for just a minute. So can we modify more solid surfaces in Rhino before we export to Revit? If you hold the middle mouse button, you should be able to pan. Yeah, see, it's not letting me do that with my mouse because that's exactly what I want to do is pan. And so maybe I just need to get a different mouse. But thank you. For those of you without this stupid Apple-issued Magic Mouse, yeah, the middle mouse button, you should be able to set it to be able to pan, okay? Like the Disney concert hall. Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't keeping up with the chat. It might be easier to mirror as well when adding the reveals. Yes, indeed. Yeah, in fact, you know, like, so that was just a private message, but I think what you'll find is that I'm probably, first of all, there's like 16 different ways to do certain things, both in Rhino and Revit. And so sometimes I'm doing things that are less efficient. Sometimes I'm doing that on purpose because I want you to practice. Other times, like Britt's bringing up, like, you know, if you want to project these reveals from one side of the wall to another wall, there's ways to mirror and do those sorts of things in order to sort of keep adding the reveals, particularly in a pattern, right? And so, you know, when it comes to those times, when it comes time to do that, you know, beyond the demonstrations, when we are actually sharing screens and doing the troubleshooting and sort of the office hours, you know, you guys will learn. Hopefully, we can do this. You guys can share your screens and point out an easier way or a more efficient way to do some of these things. Because honestly, you know, when we're meeting on campus, you know, there's a lot of peer-to-peer learning that happens, right? And as much as possible, I'd like for that to continue to happen, even if it's virtually over Zoom. Okay. How much detail are we allowed to put into project 2? Well, this is what we're doing. We're putting in the 2 feet by 2 feet panels and the 4 foot by 4 foot glass. And then the blank walls will remain as sort of cast concrete, okay? So cast in place concrete. So that's your that's your palette of your 3 materials. I don't want these looking like complete Frankensteins. So I want you to sort of keep you with the sort of 3 materials. There are 3 systems. How I use the Gumbald to rotate in Rhino, is that okay? How do I rotate 90 degrees? I can figure it out how. Just use the rotate tool. If you're using the Gumball tool, just click the rotation angle and type 90. Let me just, so there's a number of questions. If you hold the middle mouse button, can we modify more solid surfaces in Rhino before we export to Revit? Okay. So that's a question where Miles, maybe towards the end, I'll let you share your screen so you can ask me a more pointed question about what specifically you want to do. Let me just minimize Revit and open up Rhino again. I'll just you know, address what Juan is pointing out with the Gumball tool, typing in 90 degrees. Maybe Rhino starts. Come on, Rhino. So Britt Cook made a good comment to me though, and it was like, you know, when it comes to adding the reveals, you know, it seems like I'm doing things the hard way, and that's very much the case. And so, you know, as you start to add these things and do things, right, you can begin to look at the tools up here, right, for rotate, copy, mirror, trimming, those sorts of things, right? There are ways to more efficiently and more accurately begin to, let's say, duplicate, for instance, these reveal patterns, okay? There's also ways to actually make your own storefront with these paneling. What I wanted to do was do a number of different things. So for instance, you know, we're kind of doing that anyway by applying a curtain wall to a surface. I wanted to show the reveals and let you guys play around with that, but also I wanted to make sure you guys are aware that you can begin to look at these things in elevation as well as ISO, and begin to sort of get the these dimensions and begin to manipulate them, right? So I'm trying to sort of sometimes cheat and shortcut a few things in order to make sure you know that there's multiple ways to do things. And as you come up with multiple ways to do things, I want you to be able to share that. I want you to know that you can share those with us, okay? So let's see, let me bring that up. Revit, sure. I can even spell bringing. Right? Can we put as many glass and wall reveals as we want, or is there a limit? So those are the parameters I want to work out because I want to balance the amount of detail and the amount of time you have, Alan. And so I was going to probably say, like, for instance, all the horizontal surfaces will remain as concrete. Take half of the vertical surfaces or a certain amount and actually make them panels, leave the rest concrete, and then add a certain number of glass. You know, and so I was just going to come up with some numbers tonight that seemed fair. I wanted to actually do this assignment one more time. I've done this like 3 times, but one more time to sort of adjust things and fine tune things based off how much time I think it'll take you. Don't let that keep you from working ahead though tonight if you'd like to try things out. You can always add and import more stuff later at a later time. So again, just do what you know. I would rather you be proactive, and if you're interested in sort of keeping up your momentum. But I don't have the exact parameters for the assignment for you. I was going to work on those tonight. Okay. You know, probably around 6 p.m. after I'm done teaching class. Well, probably after, yeah, then I'll have to eat some dinner at some point, get the kids to bed at some point, crack open a beer, sit down with my laptop again and do that, okay? So let's see, yeah, rotation with the gumball, right? So I think, and bear with me with my interface because it's not really showing up because my OpenGL issues. I'm running Windows 10 on a MacBook Pro, and for whatever reason, my interface is sort of screwy from some cases. But when you see the rotation sweep in the XY axis, let's say I want to rotate this 90 degrees in plan view, right? So along the Z axis, I could type in 90, right? And then it rotates 90 degrees. Okay, so you see that sweep in the XY plane. I can tell it, you know, I can set it back to 0 if I want and rotate it again, etc. Okay, that's what Juan was talking about in the Gumball. If that helps, Maria. Thanks, Juan. Is there any other cheaper sources to purchase Windows 10 for Mac, or is it best to just buy it from Microsoft? Oh, you can't see my screen. Oh no. Yeah, that would help. Thanks for letting me know. Right, so here's the Gumball. And when I see this 90-degree sweep right here, the rotation sweep, I can click on it. I could type in literally 90 degrees and it'll rotate 90 degrees, okay? Around in this case, the Z axis, or 270 if I want to rotate it in a different orientation. Sorry, is there any other cheaper sources to purchase Windows 10 from, yeah, to purchase Windows 10? I don't know, when in doubt, I just go to UNLV, OIT, purchase Windows student discount. That's computers. Discounted software. Windows. Free and discounted software is available for remote use. Check the list for the most up-to-date software information. Request software. Mathematica and MATLAB, interesting. Let's see. Free and discounted software. Oh, here we go. It's always 16 clicks away. Let's see, Windows 10 Enterprise 64-bit. You want 64-bit. It's not saying where you can buy it and how much. I'm not sure what the price is. Again, I would refer you. I'm not sure. Did Leanne Carr? You guys are undergrads. I think all of you are undergrads. So did Leanne give you sorry, 16 different Google Drive accounts? Give you the School of Architecture. You guys should get the School of Architecture laptop requirements. So, you know, but that basically says, okay, get a PC. If you want to get the MacBook Pro, then, you know, make sure that you, okay, there's a link from Billy. All right, right. But make sure that you can run Windows 10 64-bit, because Revit, and honestly, the better version of Rhino is the Windows version. It's built on the .NET platform. And so you have many more options when it comes to using all of the plugins and things like that that come with it. Add to cart, educational, multi-language download. Let's see how much it costs. It's not going to tell me. Anybody know what the cost was? But to make sure that you have a machine that was for free. Oh, well, there you go. This is the link. Right? And so what I'll do is I'll post this on the, if Cameron hasn't already posted it, on the Canvas page here. Let's see. Your LV pack. I'll put in announcements. So I'll make a new announcement. Free Windows. Whoop, whoop. Save. All right, so that'll be an announcement. Free, screenshot the code for the license because you lose access to it after a month. Okay. Yeah, great. I'm all for saving money, I know. Okay, so with that, I'm gonna stop. I haven't shared my screen, right? Okay, but I just added an announcement on the Canvas page with Villy's link there. Thanks, Villy. That's really helpful. You rock. Okay, so it's 12 o'clock. This is a kind of a short day. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to sort of say class is dismissed. I don't have anything formally planned for the rest of the time except to be around for anybody with questions about either finishing project 1, or if you're starting project 2 and you just run into any difficulties, you want me to take a look, okay? So I have office hours for the next, you know, until everybody peels away from Zoom, okay? If you want to peel off sooner rather than later, that's fine, and jet out of here. But otherwise, I'm around for a while to help and troubleshoot. Consider this sort of the virtual office hours. There's some of you had some questions about project 1, so it's like now's your chance to get those answered so you can submit before the end of the day, okay? And if I don't hear from you or see you over the next hour or so of virtual office hours, then have a nice evening, or have a nice day and evening, and I'll see you again tomorrow morning in class, okay? So class dismissed. And I'm here just to be helpful, if I can be.
Josh, I was wondering if I could show you my model and elaborate on my first question.
Sure can. Let me make you, and now you can share your screen. Go for it.
All right, let's see.
Thanks, Miles.
All right, can you see my screen?
It's, yeah, now it's up.
All right, so when I meant by like adjusting some 3D surfaces, I just want to sort of tweak some things, like maybe bring this guy up a little bit, like stretch it up.
Yes, yeah, I wouldn't spend too much time doing that, but yes, you can modify it. In fact,
Yeah,
that's something that you can do while you're looking at also making some new planes for some glass curtain wall,
yeah,
right?
just about sort of taking some of the
Yep,
pieces that I wasn't, there's a few pieces I wasn't super proud about how it
sure.
fit together,
Okay,
and I'd love just to
if
make
you're
it work
just
a little
fine
better.
tuning a few things and it's just minor adjustments, that's fine. You know, I wouldn't do a complete overhaul. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But yeah, I think I know what you're asking. Sure, that's absolutely fine. I'm not going to
okay,
compare the two because there's just too many of you, and that would just be silly. So if you're constantly developing this and improving it, that's perfectly fine. Okay.
okay. And overall, just as I sort of rejiggered the model from the last time I got feedback. So does this look a little bit better, do you think?
Yeah. Now the question will be. Yeah. Now the question will be. I would think. Can you turn it like 90 degrees counterclockwise?
Oh, other way,
Yeah.
counterclockwise.
Otherwise. Yeah. You know your center of rotation for. Oh, okay. No, sorry. You're just using the 3D mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing you might consider is, can you keep going just a little bit more?
Yep.
And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly annotate. If you can just zoom in just a little bit, that's fine. That's perfect right there. But in this situation here, actually bring this down past the slab so that like when you have the slab,
Yeah.
that instead of sitting on top, the wall actually extends down past it like this. That'll
Oh, so
help you.
pulling
Yeah,
it
because
down a
then you'll
little
put
bit.
reveals on this thing, right? And then you'll have the floor back beyond it. And so you can sort of get rid of that, right? So you might just sort of consider putting, again, applying these things like just like this. That kind of detail will work better than this detail where you have the wall sort of sitting on top of the floor.
Right. Can you explain that one more time? So take the box stand, like
Yeah.
vertical wall, and
Can
bringing
you
that
zoom into
down.
this area really quickly, a little more, so it's a little easier to
Yeah.
see?
Whoops.
You could always use this tool too if it just helps to draw a window around it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you're good. All right, so that's perfect. So what I'm saying is like, you see how this is sitting on top of this one?
Right.
Yeah. So what I would do is I would actually bring this down and out
Okay.
just a little bit and sort of have this slide down past the bottom,
Okay.
slide past the side of your slab, right? Like your slab's going to be down here.
So push it into the surface of like the wraparound.
Yeah. So if I was looking at it in section, right? Right now you have the slab, and then you
Okay.
have the wall sitting on top, right?
Right. Okay.
Okay. Sorry, that was lame. But here's you have the slab. What I would do is I would pull it past so it's only along the outside. Does that make more
Oh,
sense?
okay. Yeah, cause I think cause the rectangular slab also is this whole big piece right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like this band that goes around the whole like three sides of it, 3.5 sides of it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Would you mind screenshotting that and sending me that to me in an email?
I will do. I just did. Yeah. I
Perfect.
just saved it. I'll find it and post it for you. Yeah.
All right. And is there anything else that I should keep in mind?
No, but if you're modifying stuff, that's one thing that I would say might be a little helpful.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks, Miles.
You have a good one.
Yeah, you
I'm
too.
gonna stop sharing.
Great. That's awesome. And let's see, the chat is up. Participants aren't. I'm going to go ahead and reclaim host from you in case I need to share with anybody else. Share hosting. Thank you, Josh. We'll be adding stairs and such, or how should we move between elevations? No, we're not going to, I'm not going to worry about stairs at the moment. These are kind of like outdoor follies. They're open air. They're not going to be like complex. If we look at stairs, it'll be later on. Maria, can I share as well? Yes, Maria, absolutely. Let me just make you host. There you are. And while you're doing that, I'm going to look for this screen capture and see if I can find that screen capture I just made here somewhere.
How do I share? I can't figure out how to share it.
Yes, give me just a second. I don't know. Sorry, I'm trying to do too many things at once. There's Zoom. All right, sorry. Let me just find the, I'm not going to remember to do that screenshot. There we go. I'll send that to Miles right now. So in the Zoom interface, there should be it's a green button on my interface, in the Mac interface.
Oh, okay.
It says share screen as a green button with an up arrow. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Now you go ahead and get things ready, and I'll be ready to go in just a second. I just got to find Miles' email address here and send him that quick little screen capture. Miles Bernstein. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks again, Josh. I appreciate it.
No problemo. Send, and it's traveling through a bunch of ether. It'll probably be in your inbox any second. Yeah, I got so many silly emails. I just delete half of them without even looking at them because they're just junk. All right, so yes. Hi, Maria. How's it going?
Hi.
Okay, no, there's a green model.
Yes, I was just wondering, are the angles and everything look right before I'm 2D modeling it?
Can you zoom in on it a little bit and maybe take its first spin, just spin around? Do a little 360. Yeah, I mean, they all look like right angles.
Okay.
Which is key. We want straight lines, 90 degrees.
Okay, and I have yes.
A couple of things. Can you get a little closer to where you were?
Yes.
All right, now go around a bit. Okay. Okay, so right there. That's fine. Can you move it down just a little bit? Yeah. So here, let me just annotate again. So I wouldn't stack up and layer up layers like this, like in line with each other. Pull them apart from each other so that you're filling in more of the space.
Okay.
I mean, remember back to the studio days, Maria. Make it more interesting. And so what I would say is pull all of these pieces distinctly apart so you don't layering things up.
Okay.
Playing with each other. And then again, turn it in all 6 directions and sort of look. If it's interesting in one direction, but then really it looks like the sort of ass end of it, you know, like where you put the dumpster, you know, like the back of the building. What you want to do is avoid the back and the bottom and the front, right? You can, okay? So think about that. Like, remember when we were doing models at a foam core and wood dowels and things like that last year, right?
Yes.
Use the same sensibility that you did really great with in studio to this, okay? Does that help a little bit?
Yes.
But to answer your first question, it looks like you're on the right track. So just self-confidence this thing, pull it through, just, you know, arrange. It's about composing things to fill in, you know, some of that 60 by 60 by 60 cubic volume, just, you know, imaginary volume.
Okay.
Okay. And then doing the Make 2D, making sure that you get everything into Illustrator and adjust the line weights, right?
Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. You know, the 1 or 2 folks that were emailing me like at the last second are not even here, sticking around trying to like ask their questions that they had. Like, oh well. All right. But I recognize most of these names as folks that stuck around or have been in the School of Architecture for a while. And so, like I said, with this class, I'm here to help you as much as possible. And we're not going to take all 2.5 hours of class time every day that we meet. And so, you know, we have built-in time to basically try to troubleshoot things every day. You can ask questions. And so, you know, that's important with these kind of classes for a number of different reasons. But one is that everybody sort of learns at their own pace. So that maybe allows someone who wants to work ahead to get some feedback and some and ask some questions answered that weren't answered maybe in the in-class demonstration, because I'm still trying to catch people up and those sorts of things, right? So I'm going to try my best for you guys, but the names I see here and some of the ones that just exited already seem to be the ones that are most engaged and ready to just sort of pick up the ball, run with it, and take the steering wheel and drive, and you know, whatever weird metaphors you want to throw at this. But good job. And like I said, if you feel bored or that we're going too slow or something, then just let me know, and I can just say, you know what, here's what's coming up next. Feel free to do it. Even if you, would be great is if you, I wouldn't even be opposed if some of you are working ahead, you finish a week early and you're done a week early. I'm pretty flexible. You know, the key thing is not to hear myself talk all the time, but I just want to make sure that you guys are learning, that I have a way to sort of point to, here's what they learned, here's what they did, and you know, here's what demonstrates it. So, okie doke. Can I share as well? Anybody else have any questions at the moment, or just want to walk through? If you're just working through, I'll stick around for a little while. I'm just going to turn my microphone on mute, or I'll just keep talking, and then just shout at me. Because I'll start to do my own work. Okay, good. So I can do my own work, and just shout at me if you don't get my attention through chat or something, and you have a question or you just want to share your screen. Okay. And as far as I'm concerned, you don't have to be here the whole time. I hope I'm not here till 1:30 because I want to eat some lunch before my next class. But it is what it is. I can be here as long as you guys need. If you have run into issues and things like that. Okay. Oh, sorry. One last thing. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to exit the meeting and make someone else host, and I'll come right back. But once I exit, then it'll start to post-process the video recording. And so I can get that going as well, because it takes like 20 minutes of like post-processing the recording into a video. So I'll be right back. Okay.